Welcome to another episode of Best on Tour this week, where we talk about what happened on and off the water in professional fishing. I'm your host, Matt Pangrac, along with Dave Rush from Best on Tour, on location, not in the studio, but a lot going on this week, Dave, with a number of different organizations, and we will kick things off by talking about the Bass press release that came out with information regarding the 2026 Bassmaster Opens.
Yeah, Matt, plenty of news for bass fishing fans coming out last week, including the schedule and formatting for the 2026 Bassmaster Opens. Two divisions as there were last year, but a few wrinkles in the schedule and the rules. Division 1 kicks off January 29th on the Kissimmee chain. That will be a no forward-facing sonar event. April 1st, Lake Eufaula, that will be a forward-facing event. April 30th, Lake Norman in North Carolina, no forward-facing sonar at that event. And August 20th on Lake Erie, forward-facing sonar will be allowed in that event. Division 2, also a powerful schedule, actually. Kicking off February 19th on Sam Rayburn, where anglers will be able to use forward-facing sonar. April 23rd, one of your favorites, Grand Lake, no forward-facing sonar in the mix on Grand. May 20th, Pickwick Lake out of Tennessee. Forward-facing sonar will be okay on that fishery. And June 18th, headed back to the upper Mississippi River with no forward-facing sonar. So taking a page out of the Bassmaster Elite Series book, splitting the schedule as it pertains to forward-facing sonar use. So big news coming out of Bass as far as the 2026 Open schedule, and will play a big role in who qualifies for the 2027 Elite Series.
You mentioned the qualification process, the same kind of process with it, splitting it into two divisions for 2026. The top 50 in each division will move on to the 2026 Bassmaster Elite Qualifiers, where 10 anglers will then be taken to the 2027 Bassmaster Elite Series. A new wrinkle kind of thrown into that process is Bass has introduced the top 35 overall anglers, the anglers who fish all 8 of those in Division 1 and Division 2. The top 35 of those anglers will automatically qualify for the EQ, so a little bit of an incentive for those anglers that we see traveling across the country in 2026. Also, on the topic of Bassmaster EQs, at the time of filming this, the week of September 16th, the EQs are taking place on Lake Champlain in New York. The 2025 Nitro Bassmaster Elite Qualifier will be September 18th through 20th. So we'll get our first look and our first coverage of how this new EQ series works and plays out as we look to move 10 anglers on to the Bassmaster Elite Series in 2026.
Yeah, really looking forward to following that event and seeing how that pans out as well.
A repeat winner took place this past week in the MLF on the Potomac River. A little bit of a stingy Potomac River, took around 15 pounds a day to win that, but a familiar name at the top who has to be setting some sort of MLF records for the number of wins on one body of water.
Absolutely. When you saw him in the mix, you thought, man, he is not a guy you want to see near the top of that leaderboard if you're other competitors on the Potomac River. With a 3-day total of 44 pounds and 15 ounces, Brian Schmidt gets his 4th Toyota Series win on the Potomac, 7th Toyota Series win overall. And, man, what an impressive body of work on the Potomac River by our man Brian Schmidt. Toyota Series Championship will wrap up their season later this fall on Grand Lake.
The MLF Knighton Industries Heritage Cup taking place in Minocqua, Wisconsin. A lot of tournaments taking place in Wisconsin, as we will also see the Bass Nation Championship taking place in Wisconsin here in about a month. But the Fishing Clash Team Series, the second of the MLF Team Series event, 12 more teams competing there. You have Luke Clausen and Keith Carson, Nick LeBrun and Marty Robinson, James Elam, Gerald Spoor, Jeff Sprague and Brian Thrift, and then the team of Ott Defoe and Andy Montgomery, Marshall Robinson and Drew Gill. If you remember, Ott Defoe and Drew Gill actually teamed up to win double gold at the Black Bass World Championships in South Africa last month, now competing on opposite teams for the same Team Series championship in MLF. Matt Becker, Spencer Sheffield, Nick Hatfield, and Cole Floyd. And then in the final elimination matches on day 3, you have Zach Burge, Keith Poche, teaming up along with Jared Littner, Todd Faircloth, Jacob Wheeler, and Mark Daniels Jr. and Casey Ashley and Terry Scroggins. Actually, some teams already eliminated from that, as the team of Burge, Poche, and then Littner and Faircloth have moved on. The team of Ott Defoe and Andy Montgomery, along with Marshall Robinson and Drew Gill, have moved on. And then Luke Kloss and Keith Carson have moved on, along with Nick LeBrun and Marty Robinson. So the popular Team Series with some live coverage available of that, as well as some TV shows coming out after that, taking place over on MLF. A really nice addition to the fall lineup of fishing that still has some championships yet to be decided, including the Bass Nation Championship and the Toyota Series later this year on Grand Lake.
Yeah, lots of fishing remaining for all the fishing fans out there, and great content and format over there on the Major League Fishing Clash Team Series, and some really cool personalities on deck there, showcasing what they can do as a team. So I've been enjoying checking that out as well.
Become a better angler, get behind the scenes of the top fishing tours, learn the business side of the fishing industry and how to get sponsorships. The Best on Tour newsletter brings you that all once a week, completely free, and you can sign up for that at bestontour.net. Anything else to add, Dave, before we wrap up another week of Best on Tour?
No, we will have plenty to talk about next week with all the events going on, so look forward to talking to everyone then.
Absolutely. Same time, same place next week. We will talk to everybody then.